Hi everyone, Fusion Sao here. I'm playing Bohemian Killing. I got this game from Keymailer. I believe it's developed by one guy who is a lawyer in real life. I believe that's what the synopsis of this game was. So I thought this would be an interesting game to try out. And so here we are, Bohemian Killing. Oh yes, the developer's name is the Moonwalls. According to the Steam page, they got all kinds of awards. They got winner of Best Story for the Pixel Awards 2016. It says it's first-person court drama set in 19th century steampunk Paris. You have to figure out a way to exonerate yourself from the crimes. Let's give it a shot. So I did play like a minute of it to see what it was like. So the game adapts to the choices you make. Remember that during your testimony you are not creating history, you are lying about what has already happened in Bohemian Killing. There are hundreds of possibilities. You can frame people, lie, manipulate evidence, and witness plead guilty or even act innocent. Insane. Ah.
Stabbed her in the liver. So let's get started.
Can't open the door? I don't like the mouse sensitivity. I wonder if there's a way to control that. Okay, there it is. That's a little better. It's still pretty sensitive. Can't open the door. That's locked. That's locked. Can you read a book? Read another book? You can skip dialogue by holding E. During the testimony, you'll skip a single dialogue line. During cutscenes, you'll skip an entire scene. What is this? Oh my gosh. It's a murder. Left mouse button. I just killed someone.
Monsieur Eaton. Monsieur Eaton.
Kind of a dark introduction so far.
Monsieur Eaton, I'm talking to you. I'm sorry, Monsieur le Président, I was thinking. Do you understand the indictment? Sorry, but I have to ask the prosecutor to
Who's
repeat.
talking?
Monsieur Eaton, do you consider it
The
to
guy
be
over
a
there?
joke? You're charged with a serious crime. Please stay focused. Monsieur Prosecutor, please continue. As I said, I accuse Alfred Eaton of murdering Marie Capet on the 17th of October 1894 in Paris. That day, Alfred Eaton was at the theatrical premiere of Prométhée, Vol du Feu, which took place at Opéra Garnier. As it is apparent from the testimony of witnesses, the accused left at about 8:30 p.m., before the end of the banquet. At about 9:25 p.m., he rented a room in his name at the Caucasus Hotel, which is adjacent to the building in which he lives. It was in that room that approximately at 11:16 p.m. Marie Capet was murdered. Next, the accused returned to his house, and at about 10:05 p.m. he entered his apartment in the company of Marie Capet, or let her in. It results from the fingerprint analysis. It did not show the victim's fingerprints on the outer side of the door, only on the inner. Alfred Eaton, by means of deception or threats, led the victim to his secret workshop, which is located on the first floor of his apartment. The police report did not indicate any signs of struggle or resistance. The accused probably wanted to test on Marie Capet the prototype of a torture machine of his construction, which was in the room along with medical tools and manuals of torture. When Marie Capet realized what the accused intended to do, she grabbed a metal rod lying in the room and hit the accused on the head,
Marie Capet.
which caused a real threat to his life and, according to doctors, may have caused unconsciousness. The fingerprints of Marie Capet's left hand were found on the rod, as well as Alfred Eaton's traces of blood. Traces of blood were also found on the floor of that room. At the time of his arrest, the accused had an extensive wound on his head, as confirmed by medical examination. Seizing the opportunity, Marie Capet fled from the apartment. She was stressed and in a hurry. This was confirmed by her numerous fingerprints secured on the inside of the door of the apartment of the accused. Then, Marie Capet ran into a nearby hotel, the Caucasus. It was the same hotel in which the accused rented a room. As it appears from the testimony of the clerk, Marie Capet was extremely stressed, repeating the word doctor and police. Probably she wanted to call for help. When the clerk went to get some water to calm Marie Capet, she disappeared. The next day, on the 18th of October, about 8:32 a.m., a maid found her body in a room rented by Alfred Eaton. It was covered with numerous fingerprints of the victim and of the accused, and had traces of the victim's blood. The immediate cause of death was a severe blow to the abdomen in the liver area, with a blade of about 14 centimeters length. The murder weapon, constructed by the accused, was secured in his apartment. Marie Capet's unwashed blood stains were still present on it, as well as the fingerprints of the accused. The accused is also charged by the testimony of one of the neighbors, who passed the accused at the front door of the building in which they both lived at about 11:30 p.m. The witness testified that the clothing of the accused was stained with blood. Unfortunately, the said clothes were not found. At the time of committing the alleged crime, the accused was sane, which means he acted consciously. For committed crimes, the accused shall be liable to life imprisonment or the death penalty. Has the accused finally understood the indictment?
Oui, Monsieur le Président.
Does the accused plead guilty to the charges against him?
Non, Monsieur le Président.
Does the accused want to provide explanations?
Oui, Monsieur le Président.
Monsieur le Président, could I ask you for some conversation time with my client?
Of course. I just wish it would not take too much time. We've already wasted too much of it.
Monsieur Eaton, please note that you can look through evidence at any moment. It is available by pressing tab. I will show the defense evidence to the court at the time of your uncovering during the testimony. It might surprise the prosecutor. If necessary, you can recall the string of events according to the prosecution by pressing the Q key.
Hughes was at the theatrical premiere of Prométhée, The Vol de Feu, which took place at the Opéra Garnier. Supporting evidence is that Hugo Argent, testimony number 1.
If necessary, you can recall the string of events according to the prosecution by pressing the Q key. Will you need my help during testimony? I will give you my advice and remind you of important facts and events.
Okay, do you want the help of your attorney? Why not?
We are ready,
Pay him good money.
Monsieur le Président.
Then let's get started. Monsieur Eaton, what were you doing on October 17th, 1894, from 8 to 12 p.m.?
There was a theatrical premiere of Prométhée that day, which was sponsored by Le Feu, in which I am the lead designer. Starting at 7 p.m., I was at the premiere at the Opéra Garnier. Around 8:30 p.m., after the play, I found that I did not want to attend the dull banquet, and instead I preferred to work. I said goodbye to Hugo Argent, president of Le Feu, and I drove home. I got there at about 9 p.m.
So you have to lie about what's happened. There are hundreds of possibilities. You can frame other people, lie, manipulate evidence, and witnesses and plead guilty.
For a moment, I admired the charming streets of Montmartre.
Go backwards too? Oh wow.
I decided to go for an evening walk. Then I read cultural announcements.
Menu du
Later,
jour.
I read the restaurant's menu.
Soupe à l'oignon. Gratiné, foie gras de canard.
I read
Terrine.
the restaurant's menu.
Six gros escargots de
Later, I
bourguignon.
read the restaurant's menu.
Coq au vin, pommes omelettes, or pommes allumettes, sorry, and creme brulee. We talk to these people. There's no interaction. Just there. Whoa.
I entered the Café de Paris cafeteria. I wanted to drink some good wine and eat a piece of cheese. A group of Parisian rabble tried to throw me out, screaming that there was no room for gypsy thieves. They beat me and threw me into the street. I was all covered in blood.
Did you report this fact to police officers?
No, Monsieur le Président.
Well.
I decided that it was not worth losing my time.
And why is that?
A second of my work is more important than the lifetime of each and every one of those plebeians. Besides, if I had reported it, I would have done them a favor.
What do you mean, Monsieur Eaton?
In jail, they would have had better living conditions than those holes that they call houses.
I understand. Please return to your testimony.
So, wait, where am I going? Am I going down? Go down this way?
I do not recall that part.
Okay, so I have to go back this way.
I read cultural announcements. I read cultural
No,
announcements.
that's not his play. This is going here.
I opened the gate. I opened the door and walked into the Caucasus Hotel.
So you can manipulate time when you use the objects too. Interesting idea, this game. I'm not quite into it though, yet. It's quite unclear what you can interact with, too. It's like that fight scene. I don't know. It didn't show up when I hovered over the guy in the bar.
I opened the door. I opened the inner door. I spent a few minutes talking on the phone. Then I looked through leaflets offering blimp tours over Paris. I noticed an advertisement for a play sponsored by my company. The premiere had taken place a few hours before, and that's where I spent the evening.
Keeps emphasizing that.
I spent a few minutes talking on the phone.
What event is coming up? In a room which is adjacent to the building in which he lives. Approximately at 11:16 p.m., Marie Capet was murdered.
I looked through an advertisement of a company offering blimp tours over Paris.
Jambon.
I checked if my vending machine works fine. I tried to open the door to the restaurant, but it was closed because of the late hour. Apparently, the clerk noticed my state, but the rules of savoir-vivre did not let him make any commentary. I wanted to rent a room in a hotel, but the clerk said that a room had already been rented in my name. I wanted to check the guest book, but I couldn't do that.
Monsieur Eaton, do you claim that you did not rent that room?
Oui, Monsieur le Président, but I knew it could not be a coincidence. The name Ethan is not that common.
So you tried to learn more from the clerk?
Yes, however, he hid behind his professional secrecy. I knew he wouldn't tell me a thing.
I do not understand one more thing. You live next to the hotel, so why did you want to rent a room there?
Sometimes I meet up with some girls of the Moulin Rouge, and due to my reputation, I prefer not to do it in my apartment.
Did you meet Marie Capet face to face?
No, Monsieur le Président, never.
I understand. Please continue.
So we can't check the guest book.
Next, I threw a few francs to the fountain in the hotel.
Didn't he say francs instead of francs?
Then I opened the elevator grate. I took the elevator to the second.
Pretty cool inside.
I opened the elevator grate. For a moment, I admired the paintings of Paris.
There's the Eiffel Tower.
For a moment, I admired the paintings of Paris.
Really click on anything.
I read cultural announcements.
Okay, so reading the newspaper is cultural announcements.
For a moment, I admired the images showing the beauty of Paris.
That's the Notre Dame.
opened the door. I tried the door handle to the hotel room, but it was closed.
Why did you want to open that door?
I'm ashamed to admit, but I forgot which room I had rented.
I understand. Please continue your testimony.
Later, I entered the room.
Jeez, everything's so shiny, like a glazed donut. You just want to eat the sugar glaze on top of it, you know?
I read cultural announcements.
What's this important event that's coming up? Claim that Marie Capet had never been in your apartment. Foolish. You should testify that Marie Capet came to visit and you invited her in, or testify that Marie Capet broke into your apartment. I'll think of some proof later. Okay, so if you decide to visit, or if you decide to testify that Marie visited you and then attacked her, and then the attack occurred, please wait until she comes knocking at your door, then let her in. If you prefer to testify that Marie Capet broke in, please testify that you had left your apartment and came back just before the attack. Okay.
I read cultural announcements. Then I left the room into the corridor. I glanced at the painting, imitating early Then I opened the door. I closed the inner door. Then I closed the inner door.
I'm gonna tell you everything you did. I put on my socks. I drank the bottle of wine.
I opened the
I
elevator
flushed
grate.
the toilets.
I opened the elevator grate.
Right,
I took the elevator to the first floor.
Premier etage.
Then I opened the elevator grate. Then I read cultural announcements. I tried to open the door to the hotel room, but it was closed. I tried the door handle to the hotel room, but it was closed.
So weird, there's only 2 bedrooms.
I opened the elevator grate.
Maybe 0? Or you can go to 1 or 2. Wait, no,
I
there
took
it
the
is.
elevator to the ground floor.
Rez-de-chaussée, right?
Then I opened the elevator grate. I checked the guest book. There was my surname and a signature which I recognized immediately. It was the signature of my father.
His dad used his name?
Monsieur le Président, the evidence mentioned by my client has already been presented by the prosecutor. But I must add that we commissioned the handwriting expert. This is the proof marked with number 1. It states that the signature appearing in the hotel guest book really belongs to Antoine Eaton, father of the accused.
Then Monsieur Antoine Eaton will be re-examined as a witness. The hearing will take place at the next trial. I ask to duly summon the witness. The accused can return to his testimony.
So these are locked.
Next, I opened the inner door. I spent a few minutes talking on the phone.
Wait, what time is it? It is 10:30. Oops. Ah. So then 11:30 is when no. Wow. It says 9:30 he rented the room. 10 o'clock he entered the apartment with Marie Capet. How does this work? Oh, you got fromage.
Then I bought something from the vending machine. I opened the elevator grate. Then I took the elevator to the second floor. I opened the elevator grate. I examined the historic tableware. Then I read cultural announcements.
So wait a bit to go
I
home.
examined the historic tableware. Then I read cultural announcements. Then I read cultural announcements.
Okay, so maybe we can send him home? He lives next door, right?
I opened the elevator grate. Later, I took the elevator to the ground floor.
I think the graphics are kind of cool. He's covered in blood.
Then I opened the elevator
It's like
grate.
water.
I opened the door and walked out into the street. For a moment, I do not recall that part. For a moment, I do not recall that part.
Okay.
I knocked, but no one answered. I opened the door and entered my building. There was a letter for me from the Ministère de la Justice.
Monsieur le Président, this is the evidence marked with number 2. It clearly shows that my client designed his interrogation machine with only the best intentions. According to his plan, it was supposed to be forwarded to the prosecutor's office and law enforcement agencies to improve the effectiveness of interrogation. The prosecutor's suggestions that my client has supposedly intended to use this device to torture helpless women is hasty and completely untrue. This letter only proves that the accused was looking for application of his torture machine and had not found any support from Ministère de la Justice, so he decided to test it on an innocent woman.
The court supports the view that the mere fact of an offer to the Ministère de la Justice does not constitute sufficient evidence that the allegedly accused acted in good faith when creating such a device. Monsieur Eaton, please go back to your testimony.
Okay, so we got butter.
I noticed that my neighbor still cluttered the hallway with his old bicycle. I opened the inner door. I stopped to read the announcement. Then I opened the elevator grate. I took the elevator to the first floor.
Don't know what floor he lives on.
I opened the elevator grate. I checked the light switch to see if it was already repaired, but it still didn't work. I knocked at Monsieur Brissot's door, and he called back after some time.
Do you always visit your neighbors at
that's
such
scary.
odd hours?
Monsieur Brissot is the only neighbor I like, I believe with reciprocity. He goes to sleep late, and sometimes we like to argue about politics and the influence of La Révolution on today's France.
Please, return to your testimony.
I opened the door to the living room. I looked through Monsieur Brissot's heirlooms, his ancestors' bust, family portraits, and chronicles. Tucked into Monsieur Brissot's book. The Lordship Service Association was the sender.
Monsieur le Président, this is the evidence marked with number 10.
Finding
It is
new
a letter
evidence.
sent by a fictitious organization to Monsieur Brissot, which, as it was said in the letter, cultivated traditions of the French nobility and was sending Madame Capet as servant for free. The letter was sent several days before the murder. So the question arises, who had really sent Marie Capet to Monsieur Brissot? And what were their intentions?
Thank you for the clarification. The accused may continue to testify.
Okay, there's stuff there.
The apartment was full. I noticed many empty bottles in the room. Monsieur Brissot had been drinking more often. I looked through Monsieur Brissot's heirlooms, his ancestors' bust, family portraits, and chronicles.
About the fireplace. Did you go into the fireplace? Here.
I didn't want to appear nosy, but I was curious about what was behind. I opened the door to the living room of Monsieur. I was curious to see behind the door, but did not want to offend my host by
Wait.
nosing around. I knew how he is attached to the etiquette.
Wait, the glass is broken then.
I was curious to see behind the door, but did not want to offend my host by nosing around. I knew how he is attached to the etiquette. I noticed that the apartment was indeed in a poor condition. Monsieur Brissot squandered his ancestral property, and he could not afford to repair it. The apartment was full of empty bottles. Monsieur Brissot sought solace in drinking. I stared out the window at the quiet street of Montmartre. For a moment, I watched the rooftops of Paris through the window. I stared out the window at the quiet street of Montmartre. I opened the door to the living room of Monsieur Brissot. I closed the door to the living room. Then I opened the door and left the apartment.
So we go upstairs.
I decided to use the stairs instead of the elevator. I wanted to turn off the lights in the hallway, but the switch still did not work.
Let's go.
Then I opened the door to my apartment and entered. I watched the frames hanging on the wall. I loved their simplicity. It enhanced my creativity.
It's a big apartment.
I opened the inner door. Then I put my groceries into the cabinet. Later, I took to cooking dinner for the next day. Then, I ate some leftover oysters with a few caviar tarts from my lunch. I also drank some good wine.
Don't know if that would have sat well. Why did it get so blurry?
I opened the inner door.
I can't see anything.
I examined the historic tableware in the dining room. Then I opened the door. I opened the inner door. I tried to play something on the piano. I must add that I cannot play, and the piano is just for decoration.
Thanks, naked ladies. There's all these statues. Wait, he has an elevator to...
Then I opened the elevator grate.
Wait, what?
I took a bath and washed off the blood.
Just the lighting in
Then
here is
I
better.
used the stairs. Then I opened the inner door. I checked the elements of my cleaning machine, assessing what remained to be done. I started to work on my new cleaning. I was tired after the banquet, so I immediately went to sleep. I was even too tired to undress.
Is it all you want to testify, Monsieur Eaton?
Oui, Monsieur le Président.
And so I close the hearing. It is time to present your positions.
Monsieur le Président, the accused tried to trick himself off the responsibility. He used cunning rhetoric, trying to hide more and more of his new lies. However, in view of the evidence presented by the prosecutor, I have no doubt that Alfred Eaton, defendant who appeared today before the court, murdered Marie Capet in cold blood. Please, let the High Court not be deceived by his tearful stories about a poor gypsy from the country who gained his success with hard work and which Marie Capet so cleverly tried to destroy. It was the accused who destroyed the life of a poor girl and her family with full premeditation. And what did that poor girl do to deserve such cruel fate? She was searching for a better life and was employed as a maid in the same building in which a dangerous psychopath lived. According to the prosecution, the accused is guilty, Monsieur le Président. Therefore, I apply for recognition of Alfred Eaton, defendant who appeared today before the court, guilty of all charges against him, and for imposition of the death penalty by beheading on the guillotine.
Oh my gosh.
Monsieur le Président, Monsieur Prosecutor used a lot of high-flown words. However, during the preparation of indictment, he made many mistakes. As to the hotel room, my client had never rented a room in the Caucasus Hotel. As we have shown during the proceedings, it was his father, Antoine Eaton. It is supported by the hotel's guest book, graphology expertise, and the testimony of Antoine Eaton. As to the alleged attempt to use the torture device on the victim, my client did not intend to use his interrogation device, which the prosecutor describes as a torture machine, neither on Marie Capet nor on anyone else. This is indicated by the letter sent by my client to the Ministère de la Justice with a proposal of a lawful use of the equipment to serve the law as well as society. It is important to emphasize the relationship of Marie Capet and my client. According to the testimony of the victim's parents, she felt a deep resentment and contempt both for my customer and for his work and success. As to the meeting with Marie Capet in his apartment, my client has never met with Marie Capet in his apartment. We do not know where Madame Capet's fingerprints inside of that apartment came from. As for Alfred Eaton's weapon, please note, Monsieur le Président, that my client testified that he had not had the murder weapon on himself. The knife was in his secret workshop all that time. Everyone could have stolen it and then dropped it off. As for the murder, as my client testified, he did not kill Marie Capet. So, who did? As it clearly appears from the letter to Monsieur Brissot, the maid, Marie Capet, was sent shortly before the murder. I would like to add that the letter was sent from a non-existent organization, and remuneration for Marie Capet's work was not provided. So who and why had she been sent? As for the testimony of the neighbor who saw Alfred Eaton entering the building covered in blood, according to my client's testimony, that meeting had never taken place. So the witness made a false testimony. Taking into account the evidence from the neighbor's opinions, the witness might have had a motive, an aversion towards my client, and racial prejudice. Thank you, Monsieur le Président.
It was very long. He's in jail.
You gypsy scum. You can be sure that you will take responsibility for what you have done to our daughter. You will be beheaded, and even neither your millions nor your connections will be able to help you. Is the stolen money not enough? Is your wrongdoing to all these poor people not enough? You had to tear everything away from us, including our only daughter. Death to the rich. Vive la nouvelle révolution. Monsieur Etienne, the French Gypsy Association wishes to send you support and condolences for the persecution caused by your gypsy origin. We are aware that it was the main cause of your indictment. We offer you a safe haven if you decide to leave the prison in less official way. One of our persecuted members, who had also been imprisoned in the Prison de la Santé, mentions the decayed walls in most of the cells. Maybe you could use this information? Signed, X. Mon cher ami, I am in a deep regret that you had to stand before the court accused of such a terrible deed. I assure you that I deeply believe in your innocence and will do my best so that you can continue to work for the glory of Le Feu and toute la France. Cordialement, Hugo Argent.
More letters.
Cher fils, your father and I are quite sure that you did not do it. You couldn't have. We love you, and we are waiting for you at home. Please leave this cursed Paris and return to your home parts. Mama et Papa. P.S. Papa asks you not to mention the hotel guest book. Apparently you know what that means? Cher, your father and I are praying for you, and we believe that the court will be merciful. Maman et Papa. Postscriptum. Papa is sorry that it did not work as he had planned.
That seems kind of weird. He's gonna get beheaded.
Monsieur Eaton, please hurry. The court is ready to announce the verdict.
The verdict on behalf of the République Française. The court, as present, hereby finds that Alfred Eaton, accused of murdering Marie Capet, is guilty of the charges against him, and sentences the accused to the death penalty by beheading on the guillotine. The executions will be done in Prison de la Santé the next day.
Jeez, he's gonna get guillotined. I discovered a game ending. Found no mitigating circumstances in favor of the accused. Therefore, most severe punishment was imposed. Oh, jeez. I've seen a documentary that they guillotined people in France until the 1970s, I think? The 60s? Stopped guillotining. Right, well, got one of the endings. Got beheaded. There's 9 different endings, so I don't know what the other ones are. Maybe I'll play again some other time, but... So this was Bohemian Killing. It was sent to me through Keymailer by the Moonwalls, that's the developer. If you're interested in a choice-driven game, this is your thing. I have a few gripes about how the dialogue is kind of slow. Feels a little repetitive from time to time, but overall, I think the gameplay is pretty interesting, and your choices actually impact the results of the story. And things I didn't like so far, I thought in the beginning when I'm in Montmartre, in the pub, or the cafe, the guys fight him off, but you don't see the fight, and even when you click on the guys, it doesn't show up as something that you can click. Maybe they'll update that and fix it. And then I just thought it was weird how the judge would just show up in random parts of his storytelling in his memory. He was almost like a ghost. But other than that, I think it's pretty good. It's priced at $13 on Steam, so it's not bad for a little casual game. If it's on sale, it's even better, so definitely check it out if this is your game, your type of game. So, alright, thanks for watching, and see you again soon. Bye.